We're streaming live. Hello. It's a brand new day.
Welcome, everyone.
We are so happy to be here today in another Tuesday talk with Unlocking Freedom in Nature with Tammy and Lori. And today we have an amazing rock star, an amazing guest. Her name is Mahima.
So sweet. Thank you guys for having me. It's such a joy and pleasure to be here with your community and just to spend time with two amazing, powerful human beings. So thank you so much.
You're
Well, thank
welcome.
you. We have never actually got to meet Mahima in person, and this is our first time actually talking, even though we've been following each other for years, and we have a common coach and mentors. And Mahima is just amazing, and I'm so honored she's here, and appreciate you, Mahima, for taking the time to be here. And of course, I'm happy to have my co-host and my partner Lori here as well. So
That's amazing. I have also, like, platonically or whatever, I've admired Mahima. I've heard a lot of great things. I've seen her in action. I've seen her bold steps of courage despite what life sometimes had presented to her. And we're excited to have her here with us and share this great guest, because she is going to lighten up your day and brighten it up. And we're so happy to have Mahima here.
Thank
I love your
you.
outfit, Mahima. So
So
it's
colorful and
Yes,
cute
I
and
bold.
thought
choice.
usually I wear one color, so you guys may have noticed that I'm always in this sort of unicolor. It's either orange or yellow or red or some kind of brighty thing. So I thought show a little bit of more spunk today.
I love it. I love it.
Break it up a bit, yeah, disrupt myself.
That's awesome. You know, you always look beautiful. So,
Thank
and
you.
so some of our guests on here don't know who you are. So, would you like to tell us where you're from and tell our guests a little bit about you?
Well, I'm born in Zimbabwe, which is near South Africa. It's a little country in the southern part of Africa. And when I was 22 years old, I found myself in an ashram in India where I spent some time working on myself, time being like 5 years. I dedicated to learning everything I could about inner growth and worked on transforming and healing myself. And then I met a beautiful man and got married. And he was from Germany. And so him and I have lived in Switzerland, Germany and Switzerland over the last like 24 years. He about 10 years ago joined me to create. I was already working as a coach. I've been doing that since I'm 27. I'll be 53 in March. So hello. And so he's joined me about 8 years ago, and we worked together on the Mahima Mindset, which is a personal growth company that helps people work on just feeling empowered mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just really looking inside and finding your warrior, finding your healer, finding your creativity, creating beauty in your everyday life. I'm all about the power of the now. I'm all about like get out of the past, get out of the future, bring all of your attention and heart into this present moment. My childhood wasn't easy, it was trippy. Yeah, I came from an abandoned household where my father left me when I was a young child. Like I think I was 3 or 4 when I last saw my dad, and I have no idea where he is now. My mom, she had challenges with finances, and so we had to live with my grandmother from the age of 5 till 12. I stayed with my grandmother, not my mom. So, yeah, those were issues that kind of formed a certain version of me, right? And when I got to India, I discovered didn't even know that I had all these traumas and mindset that were blocking me from being able to create abundance and create beauty in my life. So once I discovered this, I was like, okay, I love everything to do with evolving myself as a human being. And when I saw people around me transforming, coming like I was, in a very different state of mind. And after some days, weeks, sometimes hours, seeing people find their presence, find their beauty, find their power, I was like, I'm in love with this world. I'm in love with this world of personal growth. And I want to dedicate, I just somehow knew from the very first meditation that my life was going to be dedicated to this path. I think that's what happens when you find yourself. You just know it's like you found a chunk of raw gold or something, and you're like, this is precious. So that's the story in a nutshell. That's the story in a nutshell.
It's a beautiful story, Mahima. And I want to ask you then, how would someone know that you got to that point of finding yourself? That self-discovery, sometimes of course, it's obvious that you've gotten to that point, but then I'm sure you fast forwarded many years, right? Many years of personal development, many years of self-realization, and digging very deep inside yourself. I want to know, how is it that someone can realize they're there? After what needs to happen? Is there a sequence of things or events, or at what point do you realize I found myself?
Okay, so I realized I found myself in my first meditation. Yeah. So for me, the enlightenment happens first, and then the
Mhm.
journey begins. So it's not I'm walking towards enlightenment is somewhere over there. That's the belief that keeps people imprisoned.
Mm.
Right. So and what I mean by that is when I sat down and just literally like this, that's what it felt like to me, like a magic wand. My mind became still. I wasn't filled with all of that fear and concern and all. I entered a state of consciousness where I felt deep peace. I felt love and I felt joy. And that
Mm.
was just in my first meditation.
It's the
So
aha moment.
Mhm.
I call it an awakening. You have an awakening. And it happened because I was in a Buddha field. When you come, maybe scrap the word Buddha. If I don't really care what people call this, but you create a field when human beings gather in an open heart with
Mm.
the intention of raising their consciousness. It creates a field, yeah, and that field can take place on or offline. Doesn't matter. It's just about a group of people coming together with the intention, being intentional about digging into their hearts, opening their hearts, allowing peace. And so in that field, magical things happen. So I create that in my events. People come and poof, have experiences they've never had before. Yeah. I call it opening portals, awakening, connecting to your true self, right? So that's what happened to me. I connected to my essence. I connected to my being. And and so that was the first point of, oh my God, what is this? And that
Yes.
made me say, I need more meditations. I need to hang out with these people more. I need to understand these teachings deeper, right? So without that initial, like, whoa, what is this? What just happened to me? So it's an experience. You have an experience that nobody can take away from you. It's not mental. It's not mental. Shall I say masturbation? Can we say that? Mental.
Okay.
It's real. It's real. It's in your
Real.
body. It's in your heart. You feel it. You experience it. And you go, something has happened to me. I don't know the words. I don't even find words to explain what this is. I don't even know how to describe it. I just know I came here and I was like this. And then
Yeah.
hours later, I was like this. And I want to know more about this. So that's what starts the journey, I believe. You know, some kind of experience. And then you continue. In time, what you're basically doing is you're transforming the let's say that the broken child that had the father leave her and then had abandonment issues with men. That's not something that in one meditation you're going to be over. Okay? So that's part of my story. That's part of my personality. That's part of the human form. But when we connect to this place of peace, we connect to our soul, we connect to our spirit, which is beyond the form, beyond the personality. And that can only take place in the here and now, right? In this moment, you can experience an expanded, you can experience your soul, you can experience presence, you can experience unconditional love, right? And so that doesn't need time. I would say to students, peace is one breath away. It's one breath away. It's one decision away. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was
Sorry,
gonna
get
say,
carried away.
so many times, and I hear this a lot, people live in their past and they're always blaming their past. They don't want to move. And I think it was Adriana, a friend of mine, was saying, it's like you have the choice. You don't have to sit there and live. You don't have to, be there. You don't have to hang out with negative people. You have the choice if you want peace or not.
Yes.
So, and that's what I'm getting from you is that positivity, that experience, discovering who you are. And so many times I think so many people are listening to all the other voices around them saying, this is who you are, this is what I want, but it's not you.
Yes. Yes.
Mahima, I want to say that Hannah, say hello to Hannah Denny. She's saying that your outfit is amazing and it suits you. And then
Thank you,
Sita,
Hannah.
Sita is in here. And I just want to say that, Mahima, I believe this is so true. I love that when you give the comparison to peace is a breath away. People have a hard time with that. And it's not that simple, right? It's like it's a breath away, right? We breathe, but I also know that humans do not know how to breathe. And if humans don't even know how to breathe and use their lungs and that this power we have to maximum capacity, that is why that is even a foreign idea for them to summon and for them to digest and for them to understand that is that it could be that simple. However,
Yes.
it sounds like a deep process. But have you found anyone that resisted that idea? And
Oh,
how are you able to help them understand?
I think many people resist that idea until they experience it, and then the resistance just crashes by itself,
And
right?
there's the breakthrough.
So yeah, so so we're moving away from intellect into experience. The what people are looking for is not more intellectual wisdom and knowledge. I know that's what they've sold us as the utopia of intelligence. We're looking for wisdom. Yeah, we're looking to experience the wisdom that is being shared, right? So there's a lot of mind wisdom. Even when you read a book, it's great, and you're getting insights and you're getting breakthroughs, and it feels all lovely. And then you close the book, and can whatever you've read there, can that go into your DNA? Can that go into your cells? Can that now become part of your new integrated reality? Right. So let's say you read a book um, on, let's say, sexual empowerment, right, and healing yourself, right? So there's the act of reading and receiving that information, but then they might ask you to do things in the book, and that's where it gets tricky for people, right? They might say, put the book down and do this, that, and that. Do this exercise and do that exercise, and that's where most people will just keep reading. They'll be like, "That's nice, yeah, but I don't know if
In
I'm gonna do
theory.
this. I don't know if I'm gonna do like this, you know." And that's the same with personal growth. People love to get that stimulation. Ooh, yes, nice conversation. But then we say, stop. Now let's breathe. Now let's move. That's when you get like the, oh, why should I me breathe like me? Yeah, that's where you get the resistance, right? But I'm skilled at dissolving resistance. Yes.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
I don't go into ego debates. I just go into just feel the love, yeah, breathe, and then okay, there's the resistance, and then you just see people start to breathe. You see the stress melting away, you see their body softening. I'm guiding them into these beautiful places, and then they just start to get it. And it really doesn't take that long. We have a 3-day event that we run, and literally, let's say it starts at 9 a.m. By 11 you see the
The
transformation.
difference.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. But
awesome.
like some people, it happens in the first 5 minutes because I was open with not talking, with invitation to breathe and do. So for some people, they're already there, right? Depends on where you arrive at the event. If you're new to this information, I would say by 11, you're breathing and you're going, thank you. I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah. And of course, it's just one layer, but still, it's just like you feel the transformation. And you
And you
guys,
also, I'm sure they go, where have I been? What have I been missing all this time?
exactly.
I think of on I think on patterns and frameworks, and I kind of found a little pattern here with the letter I, and it's intention. You have to have the intention to want it, to want that breakthrough. You have to have that integration and implementation too, I'm sure, because like you were saying about the theory, the
I love it.
theory, right? The theory of, oh, that's so cute. That's so
Isn't
awesome. I
that
love the
cute? Like,
hearts.
I don't even know how that worked. I just like figured this out a while back. Okay, when
I
I do
love it.
this, hearts come out of my chest. I don't,
That's your
I don't
Love
magic.
even know
it.
how
That's your
this is
magic.
working.
Your magic.
But I mean, it's like I in my practice too, Mahima, when I would have someone walk in stressed out, eyes crossed, everything, arms crossed, everything with the weight of the world in their shoulders, and after a guided meditation practice, after something like that, the differences I totally understand and hear you, the difference before and after, their countenances
Yes.
change and it's so evident. Maybe we need to, Mahima, from here on have a before picture and an after picture, right?
Absolutely. That's what we need to do. And I love that intention, integration, implementation. Boom. That's deep and beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
and I've noticed also when you go, when I take clients or youth or whoever, if they're really tense, and it's like, I don't know how many times, because it seems like people are tense all the time anymore because they're so busy. And even if they come over for dinner or anything, they're just so tense at first.
That's right.
But I've noticed if when it's like when they see the stream or just hear that running water, or they hear the birds singing, or just something with nature, and that's where our unlocking freedom in nature comes from, is how they start to escape and start to transform. Like you said, they start letting go to where they can actually start breathing again. So um, could you imagine with the combination of all of us?
Can
With
you imagine
Tammy's
if they
art and love and passion for nature, and then me also with the mind. I love the Mahima mindset. I have
Yeah.
my steadfast forward method. I mean, it's just things that we need to learn that are just available for us,
yeah,
and they're at our reach, but we just don't pause to take these moments to have these changes and to understand our value and our potential. So Mahima, so when you had that awakening, and I love that you call it like that, you felt love and peace.
yes,
So it was in this Buddha temple, surrounded and in this immersed in this field, right, of
yes.
amazing positive energy and love and peace. Is that something that you need to go to India to find? Or is that something that you can find where you are?
I think it used to be something that people used to go to India to find. I mean, let's face it, even the Beatles went to India to find it. Okay. Like, yeah, there was a time where it wasn't found in the Western
Mm, so
society,
true.
the concept of, all this yoga and meditation and like find your Zen and go inside. It's not like necessarily a Western thing, it's an Eastern thing, right? And so, yes, I think there was a time that you needed to go east to if you really wanted to know about it. Okay, learn from the teachers, those teachers back then that taught this stuff, right? But now, no, it's like 30 years later. It's like in my time, it's 30 years later, but
Mhm.
in the Beatles' time, it's even, whatever it is, even further back. So I think now we have teachers in the West. We have this. It's westernized. It's easternized and westernized, and it's become this thing that if you want to work on your mental, emotional well-being, that there are schools of learning. What we need to do is understand how valuable it is, right? And also to make the distinction between, let's say, our religious practice and our spiritual practice, right?
Mhm.
I think that gets fused together and can get, in my case, was messy. I
Messy.
can just talk about myself personally, right? Because from being brought up as a Roman Catholic, I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of negative imprints. And so I needed to face those, because for growth, you need to become aware of what has formed you and your belief systems. And you need to question everything,
Mhm.
right? So part of really becoming like a confident person that's a free thinker, that's liberated from the shackles of negative beliefs, is the willingness to question everything. You have to question your society, you have to question your teachers, your culture, you've got to question it all. What you've been taught about sex, money, all those taboo topics that are important topics, right? You can't just be like, well, that's what my mom told me, or that's what my teacher told me, or that's what my priest told me. You've got to be willing to to go deeper, and that's really the challenge of this work, is that willingness to say, there is no place I'm not going to go, and look for limited thinking, look for things that blocked in my system, that may be locked in a negative way, right? I remember being terrified of the dark. That was one thing that came out of, let's say, my Roman Catholic background, because I was taught the concept of the devil, and that
Mm.
devil was everywhere, and it was
Oh,
dark.
that's
It was
scary.
dark and was going to get you. And so I remember being in India on my own, being a young girl of 23 years old, not able to sleep with the light off, because I was so scared, and not because I was on my own. I just did that in general. I always needed light on in my room, because I wasn't, I mean, I was taught God fearing Catholic.
Yeah.
So you're afraid of God, you're afraid of the devil. So where do you go? Where do you, yeah. So I was messed up. I was messed up. I was messed up on all the levels, right? And so I remember the day where I felt such a strong connection to the divine spirit, the light, the peace, the joy inside of me, that I just got out of bed and I switched the light off, because I
Mm.
understood that inside of me and outside of me, there's this, I call it oneness consciousness, right? When you realize that you are the space that you're breathing, you are the trees, you are the stars, you are the moon, you are part of everything. There is an integrated connection. You're not separate. You're not just an island separate on your own, needing to be in fear. You are this expanded magnificence that goes on and on and on. So what would you actually be afraid of? If afraid, it's afraid of yourself. I'm afraid of myself, right? My own shadow, my own negative thoughts, my own negative. So the fear wasn't out there, it was in here,
Yeah.
right? So once that dissolved, I was able to just totally transform that fear. And now I don't have it anymore. I'm not afraid of the dark. I can, and I remember that moment of just turning off the light and sitting in darkness and feeling just total peace and totally secure inside of myself. So, yes, we have programming based on what we've been taught. Some of the programming is good stuff. Some of it needs to be delete, delete, delete. Yeah, reprogram, rewire, yeah, re-examine. And that's difficult to do when when you're alone, let's say, in a culture where everyone is doing this, and now you're trying to do this, right? And that's why I think getting together with these type of communities and other people that are doing transformational work is important, because then you have that support of, no, no, this is a good way. Okay, it's good to get your power back, it's good to rethink your story, right? And I think that's why I was so successful in my journey, is because I wasn't alone off trying to do it. I was inside of a community and doing this deep work. Everyone was on the same journey, and we could share stories, we could share insights, we could develop this new language together, right? But I think it's important not to get cliquey in these societies and
Mhm.
be like, we're the great people and they're crazy out there. That's, yeah, that's for me a misunderstanding of the
Right,
work. Okay.
It's
right.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And I was going to say, it's good to question.
Yeah.
Even though I've been told, oh, we don't want you around if you question us, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you can't take questions from me, then I don't want to be here, because, and I've always taught our daughters and our grandkids to question everything, but yet to be respectful of
Yes.
the answers you get. And just because they might not give you the answer you think, but then that person might be totally 100% right, but you should still question so they can explain why they think that way. So that's awesome. I think everybody should question because, like you said, our belief, how we were raised and how we're taught in schools and things really affects us. And on
100%.
the other side, when we're the teachers, we have to make sure that we're listening and we're putting out, like you said, positive messages and not taking somebody down the wrong path. So,
Absolutely.
So,
100%.
Mahima, we have, I think, a common dear friend, Martin Alter. Or I'm not, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And then
Yes.
he also talks about imprints and how the reptilian brain between, our when we're born and then like 5, 6 years old, those years of formations, those imprints are there and
Right.
programming us. I think when you were with your example of darkness, I was going to ask you, it kind of doesn't feel like it was a decision you made all of a sudden, but it was a byproduct of that spiritual experience you were feeling that was confirming to you why do I need to do this? Why do I have this irrational belief system or belief paradigm or imprint in me when I can just detach from it, let go of it, and enjoy or look at this in a different way? So between being a decision or having surrendered to what you were feeling, the peace you were feeling at the moment and the spirit you were feeling, is it a combination or is it one over the other? What is it
I,
when you have those breakthroughs?
breakthroughs, I think, just come from enough experience and evidence that something that this is no longer a way to continue. For me,
Mm.
that's like a breakthrough moment, right?
Okay.
When, for whatever reason, well, I guess in my case, it's exactly what you said. I was doing a lot of work on myself,
Yeah.
right? I was questioning, I was beginning to understand, I was dissolving, belief systems about connection to, like a higher power, spiritual energy, powerful energy, whatever we want to call it, right? I was experiencing things that definitely confirmed this fearlessness, right? I was getting taught I was listening to teachings, that were making me understand what I was experiencing. So I was having experiences through this sort of like group coaching, group experiences, and then there were teachings. Like I have modules that I teach, right? I have systems to make people understand this, not make them understand, let's say, that
Help them.
allow
Yeah.
them to understand these concepts, right? And so I think it's a combination of that, kind of understanding the teachings, if I can call them that. Yes, I can. That's what they are, right? So I understood these teachings. For example, the story of oneness consciousness, understanding that there's only me. There's only me. I'm not looking at anything that isn't me. I mean, this is so powerful. This is like, what? Right? So if I look at an animal, that's a part of me, right? If I look at a blade of grass, that's me. If I look at the stars and the cloud, and that's me, right? So what wouldn't be me? There is nothing that exists on this planet that isn't me. Now, you might think this is some spiritual hula, pula, 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 okay? But think about this. Without a tree, there's no oxygen. Yeah. Without rain, there's no tree. Okay. So we are part of this ecosystem. Yeah, without a sun, there is no tree, right? So there, nothing is. It seems separate. It seems there's a tree over there, and there's air here, and there's rain. But this all works together. It's part of. Yeah, this body is designed to breathe in the air that comes from trees, right?
Mhm.
It's designed to eat food that is grown from a seed. So there is something magical that's happened here, right? And we're part of this design, right? And every part of it matters. Does a tree matter more than me? Am I more important than a tree, right? Does a bee matter more than me? Or am I, like without the bee, then there's this problem or that problem? What we're starting to understand, that nature has, its purpose and flow, right? So yeah, that's the deeper awareness of self, right? So when you get to this deeper awareness of self, a lot of our anger and pointing fingers and being like so absorbed with people being different than us starts to dissolve away, because you start to have a deep understanding of what's going on here, right? We are all connected. Whether you
Absolutely.
want to acknowledge it or not, this is just a factual fact, right? The air you breathe, without air, you're dead. There's no you. This body is a temporary vehicle for what I call the spirit, what I call your soul, right? So if you can acknowledge that your time here is limited, which it is, nobody knows how much time you have to breathe this air and participate in all of this, okay? And the intention is to start living with more dignity in the everyday life. That's what I understood from this teacher that I first had, my first teachers. Their intention was to teach me how to live with more dignity, with more beauty, with more light, with more laughter, with more, you know, um, elevation, as opposed to focus on what I didn't have, focus on what's wrong with the world, focus what's wrong with other people, focus on what's wrong with me, focus on that. Yeah. So it's shifting away from that to a different way of perceiving the world and yourself. So that's what happened to me. In that moment when I switched off the light, I had a deeper understanding of who I am and the question, who am I? Right? So the feeling of having, fears about something getting me could be gone. There is nothing that can get me. The fear is here in my head. It's built through a story that I've repeated over and over again. Yeah? There's a devil, there's a God, you have to fear, right? And once you get a hold of that mind and quiet it, and start to understand, what is this thing called mind, and what are these stories I'm telling myself? Are they real? And poof, no, it's a facade. Yeah, the
Mhm.
mind is a facade. And when it falls down, when that wall falls down, you're somewhere else. You're somewhere else. And it's just a beautiful thing to experience. All your fear is gone completely.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
our dear friend Lisa Rankin is with us, and she's saying that, Mahima is saying, everything is connected. And I agree. I'm fascinated by that example, which is a fear of many people. Speaking from of the, an audiences, I have a huge fear, but that fear of the darkness, I think it's a very private fear people have and don't speak up about. Hannah Denny saying that she was like you, also scared of the dark, and she fully understands where you're coming from. And when you were saying the part about you were hearing that in your mind all the time, right? My question is, whether it's self-inflicted or it's external by external voices, which in this case you mentioned the religious background and what you believed. My question is also, what is the difference? Because I'm sure many loyal Catholic, people, that believers might have a total different experience than yours, right? Maybe that upbringing, their congregation, their priests, their parents didn't do the fear mongering or the that way. So it's also a perception of the ones that are around us, and we kind of give some authority to at some point, because when we were children, of course, we look up to our parents as a figure of authority and influence in our lives. But then also, like when you said that we need to question everything, at some points that child is growing and evolving and starting to think for themselves, and then decides, what to dismiss, what to continue embracing and holding on to, what old patterns we need to change then because they're destructive or paralyzing or limiting. And that is the beauty of it. And maybe someone can tell someone, oh, in Spanish, from the Caribbean, they would say el cuco, like the devil, or, this monster is going to come and get you. Somebody can say, oh, no, I know better. I believe better. Intuitively, they have that gifted insight that they were born with, or they just decide to dismiss that irrational idea. But for some people, for others, like we were talking about imprints, is so ingrained that it's hard for them to let go. And like you said, Mahima, it takes a lot of consciousness for those awakenings to happen and decisions to say enough. You also said the word enough, and you're like, probably you were like, enough with this fear. I'm not going to allow it to control me anymore. What can I do
Yeah.
about this? And when you are tired of being tired of the nonsense and the limitations, like you're saying, we start understanding that we belong to a higher power, a higher purpose. And that's when we realize that we're all interconnected with nature, with each other. And that's when life starts to happen.
Yeah, look, it's a very deep topic about, you know, what should we be teaching children, right?
Mm,
Because when something has been like their minds are very they absorb
like
and hold,
sponges.
right? Yeah, so what I would love if I did a TED talk on this, is I would love to have in schools
Mm.
the art of I call it human 2.0, learning how to be human,
Yep.
right? Learning about a spirituality that isn't I'm Jewish, I'm Christian, I'm this, I'm that. Something that can that when we remove the labels and we get into the essence of what all of this means, and we can feel and vibe together and feel that power and feel that love. I think this should be in schools. I think you should
Unity.
be learning this from a young age, how to be human, how to stay connected to your heart, not going to jealousy, not going to rage, not going to I'm not good enough, depression, and all. I mean, all of this is in the rise inside of schools, right?
Mhm.
So we're getting more suicide, more depression, more killing, more anger, more rage, more fragmentation. So it's showing us that whatever we've been doing before doesn't work. Hello. I'm sorry if I just open your eyes. I don't need to convince anyone about anything. Okay. But there is something that is not right. And we need to be courageous. And as humans come together and find a new path to human enlightenment, right? Because what we've been doing isn't the answer. It may have part of the answer, but it isn't the answer, right? Because there's been fragmentation and separation, yes,
Mhm.
in Christian, Jewish, this I'm Muslim, I'm this. It's caused more of that, and that's a fact. I'm not just making this up, right? And so we're not going to suddenly just come to a more united spiritual front without a revolution of some kind happening. Okay, it's going to take some courageous people to say, let's add to the school system, let's add some kind of curriculum, yeah, that goes there, that teaches people this essence of you think, you feel, you create. You're creator through your thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? You can vibe and connect with other human beings in a blissful, joyful, magical way, which is what I see in my events. People come and they find humans again. They like have become scared of each other. Men are scared of women. Women are scared of men. Women are scared of women. There's so much tyranny that has happened, right? And so
Mhm.
to feel humans coming together and feeling that they can heal each other, that they can create safe spaces for blossoming as humans, that we drop the labels, yeah, we drop the labels, and that we don't need them, and we co-create together. I call it a new language of love. Yeah, love is my religion, and I think we need to elevate the school system to include lessons in love, lessons in humanity, lessons in connection, lessons in peace, lessons in dealing with your sexuality proper dealing with
Mm.
sexuality, not what they're giving kids as a very messy education on that, right? Lessons on
Exactly.
money, right? Like it's
Finances.
an energy, how to deal with creating abundance financially in your life. You should be learning this with, you know, as soon as you can count money, okay? As soon as you can go to the shop and buy something, right? We should be learning about the energy of money and the essence of how to manage the flow of that mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? So there's so that's, yeah, that's my thought process. I think there's a revolution is going to be needed,
Yes.
and I think it's starting in some places, right? But I don't know what it's going to take for us to go, okay, we need something
I
new,
I
period.
know what it's
I
gonna take, Mahima. I know what it's going to take is you continuing having your events and your teachings. Tammy and I also are ready and gearing up to start offering these safe spaces and events and adventures. And the audience that we have are coaches and business owners too, like-minded people in our community. And I'm sure your community is amazing too, Mahima, of course, that one person at a time, one event at a time, one circle at a time, right? That is what's going to that is the revolution. Look at your hearts, right? She's oozing of love out of, she's instead of
she's oozing
sweating,
of love and
she's oozing
compassion.
of love, right? And empathy and all that. So I think that when each of us have those awakenings, conscious awakenings, that is what's going to happen in the world. We're going to be part of that revolution because
Yeah.
we're admonishing each other, we're leading by example. And if Mahima, you had that breakthrough, that means so and so and so and so person watching this can say, hey, I can then go through, I must go through this too, because I've had enough of this other way, right? When
Yes. Yeah.
Tammy is leading by example, her children, her family, her grandchildren, and teaching art, teaching nature, that is a higher vibration too. Me with my children, my family, my clients. That is what's going to take, and we're being part of this amazing revolution of
I
love
love that.
and new changes, changing the old with the new, because there's some people maybe in power, there's so many ideas of what is it, what you were saying, like there's something out there that's wrong, that is evil, that is darkness, that darkness that you were, and that's what needs to happen. We need to say enough is enough and summon that courage instead of being victims of what we went through. We need to say, I'm a victor because I know that that happened to me, and what is it happened for me and not to me, or we can rise from the ashes and we can use our mess and turn them into our message. So
Mm.
that's what we need to do, and I believe we're already being part of that revolution. So I don't know if you agree.
100%. I
And
100%. Absolutely well said. We need to be brave, though. We
we
do
do.
need to be brave and bold. And honestly, I think it's the feminine voice that coming into the spaces
I
that's going
agree.
to be the thing.
I love it.
I really do believe this. Women need to be brave, and we need to get out of the shadows. We need to get out of the shackles of my voice doesn't matter. I see it all the
Yes.
time in events. Yeah, people sit like this, and I'm like, why aren't you volunteering to share? And they're like, yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, and women need to get over that. They need to be hungry to open and speak up, right?
Yes.
Speak the
Yeah.
truth that we know. And yeah, so, and also to stop looking back. I think like like this sort of obsession with the past that people have, like our ancestors and what the ancestors did and how the ancestors behaved and what the old books say and what the old books do. I honestly think we need to be like, okay, we need to look forward, right? And unless we want whatever happened over there to happen over here, like, which is what's kind of happening, we just keep creating the cycle of, the same cycle of basically fragmentation and separation as opposed to unity and really working together to a common cause, right? So yes, there are some valuable insights in the past. However, we're going to need to disrupt that some of those patterns, right,
Hmm.
in this present moment. And that's the brave, that's the bold, that's, I would also say, vulnerability, the willingness to what I call tell the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell the truth.
and we should look at the past as, okay, okay, those were things that happened in the past. We should learn from those so we
Yes.
don't do those things again.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about the school system because I agree. Um, I feel like there's just not that compassion and the kindness. And the problem is it starts at home too, a lot of
Yes.
times. A lot of times what you see is the parents are watching all the news, which is all
Yes.
negative, and then they're letting their kids play video games all day long, as the babysitter, and these games are violent. Most of them are. It's one thing if they're building or learning, but where's the days of going and spending time outside
Mhm.
or doing different things to expand our minds, or teaching kids how to give and do more things? That kindness and compassion is missing. And I don't know. It's like you said, and that's why Lori and I are doing one of our retreats we're doing is for parents and teens how to connect and to communicate, to keep those connections. Because a lot of times teenagers, they want to walk away totally from their parents, and they start, a lot of times you see that's where they get into drugs or into trouble. They start hanging out with the wrong things. But if we teach them when they're younger, they're not going to go there that way. And if the parents are positive, sometimes things happen and we don't know why, but most of the time, it's it's who they hang out. It's kind of like who we hang out with. If we're hanging out with negative people all the time, we're going to become negative.
Yeah.
If we're hanging out with positive people, inspirational people, or watching things that are motivating and inspiring, we're going to become that way, because we need to be the light ourselves. And if
Yeah.
we're not the light, then who wants to listen to us? I don't want to listen to somebody that's negative or always putting somebody down. I don't even want to hardly like text them and check on them and say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Because I know I'm going to get a negative report. I,
Absolutely.
I want
Absolutely.
to text or communicate with people that it's going to like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I can cheer them up if they're going through a hard time, or vice versa. So, anyway, one of the questions I have for you, Mahima, is I see you like to travel a lot. Where's one of your favorite places you like to
Oh
travel?
my God. I love so many places. I guess I would need to put Bali, since I've been there so many times, right? On one of the top
That's
spots.
fair.
I love Thailand. I love Thailand. I love the islands in Thailand. Just so awesome energy there. I love ocean because I've lived in two countries that are landlocked. So Zimbabwe, and then I moved to Switzerland, right? So yeah, I kind of like, for me the ocean is just something that brings magic. I actually think I'm a dolphin out of water.
I
Okay, so
agree. I
yeah, so I'm
think
kind of
I
flutter
understand.
around until I get in the water and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
we
I'm
found
not the
each
big,
other.
yes,
Ah,
yes. I'm not the big wave, I'm not the big ocean wave woman. Like if there's big waves, I just like to be on the beach and watch the big waves, right? I'm more the calm ocean, that sort of tranquil ocean. So Maldives, Thailand, you can get that. Bali in places as well, where you can just literally float and be hugged by the ocean, and it's very calm and blue or turquoise and peaceful. Yeah, that's my
yeah,
happy place.
I love that. So have you
Amongst many
ever?
places.
So have you ever got to swim with dolphins?
I have. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. No, no. I've swum with a whale shark.
Oh,
Okay, but
cool.
yeah, a big whale. So that I've done, but I haven't swum with dolphins. I've witnessed dolphins coming
Yeah.
around a boat. Last trip we did to Bali, we went dolphin hunting, or not hunting, obviously, not hunting,
I know
Watching.
what
looking,
you're saying.
watching. Okay, hunting to find them, but not, but leave them peacefully in the water, right? So we went dolphin viewing, and even the guy that took us was like, this is extremely rare. There were hundreds of dolphins swimming with us. And I really believe that I have this connection with nature, that I create this magic in
Yes.
certain moments with,
That's
you know,
amazing.
yeah. And they were just like, hundreds of them were swimming with us for literally like a half hour or something. It was crazy just being in communion with all of these dolphins. right? And we weren't in a big boat, so we were really in like a small boat. So it was very intense, very magical, very beautiful. So that was my experience with dolphins. But would I love to get in the water with them? Yeah, that would be amazing.
So I'll have to share an experience of mine, and we'll have to let Lori share too here if she's had one. It was probably 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. We were in Hawaii, and our friends that lived over there had shown us where the dolphins usually and stuff are. But we were snorkeling, my husband and I, and the next thing I knew, I had 30 dolphins in the water swimming around me.
Oh,
And they swam with us for over an hour, just
Oh,
playing and stuff. And it was
oh,
just like so unreal, you know?
dolphin heaven.
oh,
It was. But to
where was
have them
that?
go like here, beside you and
Oh my
not afraid of
God.
you, you're just sitting there just enjoying it because it's like
Mm.
you're in awe. It was just such an amazing experience.
That is unique.
And
That
I've had a
is
lot of
special.
amazing experiences like that, so I feel very blessed. Lori,
Yeah.
have you gotten to swim with dolphins?
Not at all, except for in our last cruise, my husband and I were able to see some around the ship. But I just wanted to say, Mahima, thank you for being here. I always say that you are, life is so fun, and then time goes by so fast when you're having fun, and we have definitely enjoyed it. I hope the audience and the people watching, and I see Trish and Olivia Smith also joined, Eunice Ojeda or Eunice Ojeda and Mr. Daryl. I mean, I know they have gotten some amazing nuggets of wisdom, golden nuggets out of this. And if one of them is that you need to stand up, step up, and show up, that is a big one, because Mahima is saying to you, just have this conscious awakening, have this desire, open your heart and your mind and your soul and your spirit to something that is deeper and intentionally good for you, so you can live life with passion and purpose. And we just love that you came to help us understand these concepts and reinforce them. I love that you also said think, feel, and create. So Mahima, thank you for being here, and we'll have you say some words to say goodbye to our audience.
Any
Yeah.
last advice? Any tips?
Let me see if I can play a song here. I don't know if you
Ooh,
guys can hear this.
Oh,
we
yes, we
can,
can.
Can you hear the
yes.
music? Is my voice clear above the music?
Yes.
Mhm.
Just want to invite you to take a deep breath. Just breathe in through the nose and exhale. Few more rounds. Just inhale and exhale. Yes, keep breathing for a moment here. You're beautiful. You're worthy. You are enough. You're strong. You're wise. Everything you need is already here inside of your heart. Just have the courage to let go of the past, to let go of the future, and allow all of you to be here in this next breath. Breathe. Bring more kindness, gentleness, respect to yourself. You're enough, and you're worthy, and you are beautiful. Of that, I'm certain. If there's anything I know, it's that. When you find your spirit, when you find your soul, you have all the tools, and you're able to stand strong, to stand tall, and face all of these challenges with grace and ease. But do that work. It's worth it. Yes? To home, 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 into present moment, into peace, into stillness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful ladies here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's
Thank
been
you so
Oh,
much.
such an honor to have you and to have all of our guests here. And we hope you guys be sure to like and share, invite other people you think might enjoy this. And of course, you can go to Mahima Mindset, and we've put stuff in we'll make sure we put stuff on the Facebook forum so you can find her. She's, as you can see, she's a great coach and a great mentor, and we just love her. Thank you so much. I know I learned stuff, and I could talk for hours and visit and learn from you and listen to you um, for all day. So
thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are so beautiful. Keep doing this great work that you do. Just your energy coming through the screen, meeting me all the way here in Switzerland, even though one is in Texas, one is in Canada, I'm here in Switzerland, and we're just vibing and getting high on love. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you both so much. And I have some free stuff on
oh,
at the Mahima
awesome.
Mind. Yes, yeah, at the MahimaMindset.com. If you've felt like, ooh, I want to taste more Mahima, we have a free membership, which will give you access to my international best-selling book. It will give you access to
Awesome.
2 training programs. One of them is a 21-day meditation challenge. So you might just want to, head over there and get that if you feel that you've been touched by anything that's happened here today. Thank you guys
Everybody
for having
watching,
me.
run to mahimamindset.com. Okay, carefully, but haste.
Exactly. Thank you so much,
Thank you
everyone,
so
for
much.
being
Thank you,
here.
everyone.